Oh, hi. Didn't see you there. Welcome to the Caterpillar Cross Stitch YouTube channel. My name's Ford from Son of a Stitch, and the fourth and final part of the North American Adventure Stitch Along from Caterpillar Cross Stitch just released this week, and I'm way behind, so I'm still working on that. But I thought it might be fun to take a little tour of some of the features of that Stitch Along while I try my hardest to get caught up. Now, I talked a little bit about some of the features of the first part of that Stitch Along when it came out, and I did that Stitch With Me video, but there are a couple more that I kind of wanted to talk about. One is that for Michigan, we've got a Michigan dog, which is a little bit funny because the Michigan dog is actually a delicacy in New York, whereas in Michigan, they call the same thing a Coney dog, named after Coney Island in New York. So they've got geographically flipped there a little bit somehow. That first episode also featured the Statue of Liberty as part of the recognition of New York, which is also a geographical oddity because the statue itself is in New York, but the water all around it is actually part of New Jersey. So if you're standing on the ground on Liberty Island, where the Statue of Liberty is located, you're in New York. But if you step into the water, you're in New Jersey. There are a couple of other little fun features of that first episode, such as the beignets for Louisiana, which is an amazing fried delicacy from down there. I highly recommend if you're ever in the area. And of course, we've got some waves down at the bottom for the Cayman Islands. One wave for each of the 3 islands in the country, which is cute. And the Cayman Islands are in North America, but they are actually a self-ruling British territory. And then we had a sea turtle for the Bahamas. 5 of the 7 species of sea turtles that exist can be found in the Bahamas. That first episode also featured, and what I'm actually stitching right now, is the Route 66 sign in honor of the Mother Road, Route 66, which does start in Chicago, but it's much more of a Western phenomenon. It runs all throughout the West and ends up terminating in Flagstaff, Arizona. Now, if you like the videos that I make, the easiest way to show me that appreciation is actually to like with the little thumbs up icon the video itself, and to subscribe to the channel. That's how YouTube really tracks how well we're doing. So if you would do that, I would really appreciate it. Now, moving on to a few of the icons that are represented in part 2 of the Stitch Along. We've got a hot air balloon to represent the Albuquerque Balloon Festival, which is an amazing event that I would really, really love to be able to go to someday. That is definitely one of my bucket list items, so I'm hoping someday that I will get to see that myself. I would be remiss if I didn't take a second to remind you to join the Caterpillar Cross Stitch VIP Stitch Club. When you join, you'll get 10% off your first order, you'll get a digital download of our top 10 cross-stitching tips, and you'll get an ebook with 8 free cross-stitch patterns in it. So go and check that out. There's a link in the description. And the key for episode 2 shows a picture of a cactus and mentions Texas and the prickly pear, but the cactus that's depicted there is actually a saguaro, and saguaro cacti do not grow in Texas. They only grow in Sonora, Mexico, and southern Arizona. They can grow to be up to 12 plus meters tall, and if you see one with the little arm branching off of it, that iconic look of the saguaro cactus, that cactus is at least 75 years old. They just grow straight up until they're at least 75 to 100 years old, which, as an American, I think 100 years is a long time. But, you know, Europeans think 100 miles is a long way, so. Episode 2 also moves on down into Mexico with a chili pepper to represent the love of chili that Mexican cuisine has, as well as a vihuela, which is a musical instrument kind of similar to a guitar. Now, they've got that labeled as representing Jalisco, one of the states in Mexico, but Jalisco, of course, is most famous for being the home of tequila. Jalisco is the only place in the world where you can make tequila. If it doesn't come from Jalisco, it's just agave spirits. And of course, we also have the Mayan remnants of Chichen Itza, which were considered a sacred site to the Mayans. Now, moving on into episode 3, we have a brown bear to represent Alaska. Brown bears are also known as grizzly bears, and they are very large. But interestingly, I live in Utah in the United States, and Utah is actually the location of the largest grizzly bear ever discovered. His name was Old Ephraim, and his skull is located in the Smithsonian Institution. And for the Yukon in Canada, we've got a moose. If you've never seen a moose, however big you think it is, it's bigger than that. I've only ever seen a moose in the wild one time, and I was in the Uinta Mountains, and I was on horseback, and I came around the corner into a clearing with a little pond in the middle of it, and there was a moose standing in the middle of it munching on moss. And I was looking it directly in the eye. I was sitting on top of a very large horse. Moose are enormous. You'd be quite shocked to see one if you never have. Episode 2 also featured Devil's Tower in Wyoming, which you may remember from the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And here in Episode 3, we get another Wyoming feature, and that is the Grand Prismatic Spring, located in Yellowstone National Park, which is a tremendous national park. Actually is on the borders of Montana, Wyoming, and Idaho. It's in all 3 states. But Grand Prismatic Spring gets its beautiful colors from some extreme microorganisms that live in the water there, where pretty much nothing else can. It's one of the largest hot springs in the world. Now, it is a little bit funny that we get 2 different things to represent Wyoming, because Wyoming, while very large, is the least populous state in the United States. Has a total population density of about 6 people per square mile. If you compare that to, say, all of England, including all the countryside and everything, England has a population density of 400 people per square mile. And the most populous state or district in the United States, of the District of Columbia, has a population density of over 11,000 people per square mile. So that gives you an idea of how sparsely populated Wyoming is. We've also got some delicious looking donuts there to represent Oregon. There is a particularly famous donut shop in Portland that I have had the donuts from. I had a friend who was visiting from Portland, and he bought a dozen, took them on the airplane with him, and brought them to me. So they were only like 3 hours old when I got them, and they were really delicious, but I'm not sure they're worth traveling to Portland for. It's said that Portland is where young people go to retire. This episode also has a polar bear, which you might find a little bit confusing given where it is located, near Toronto, or what most people call Toronto. If you're from there, I'm told it's pronounced Toronto. But Ontario has the most southerly population of wild polar bears in the world. Episode 3 also gives us a couple of icons to represent California. We, of course, have the movie slate to represent Los Angeles and Hollywood. Those slates make a noise, and then when they sync the sound with the video, they can use the movement plus the noise to sync that up. I actually do pretty much the same thing when I'm recording these videos, except I don't have a slate, so I just clap like this. And then for Northern California, we have the Golden Gate Bridge, which, of course, is in San Francisco. As an inveterate nerd, though, the very first thing that I think of when I see the Golden Gate Bridge is Star Trek, because both Starfleet Academy and Starfleet headquarters are always depicted as being right there on the bay and within sight of the Golden Gate Bridge. And one of the most fun parts of doing a stitch along is doing it with other people, checking each other's progress, looking at the customizations that people have done. So it really helps to be in a community where other people are doing it. And that's where the Caterpillar Cross Stitch Facebook group and Instagram come in. There's 20,000 plus people in those, and a really great community and place to hang out, so I recommend going and checking those out. And of course, as of this morning, we have the 4th and final chapter of the Stitch Along, which adds some lovely wildlife, such as a bald eagle up there in Canada, a lobster off the northeastern coast there, famous lobster waters, and a Canadian porcupine, or North American porcupine, which is the 2nd largest rodent in North America after the North American beaver. I've actually seen a porcupine in person as well, and they are surprisingly stinky. That also gives us a lighthouse there for the northeastern coast, depicting Maine, And we get the White House, the residence, of course, of the President of the United States, which is located in the District of Columbia. And we get Niagara Falls, which is a series of 3 large waterfalls that straddles the border between the United States and Canada, and is a traditional, very popular location for people to take their honeymoons. I'm not sure why it's such a population, or why it's such a popular destination. Probably some very good advertising campaign on the part of their local tourism board at some point in the past, but it really just stuck and became tradition. So a lot of really great motifs to work on. I, of course, have a lot of catching up to do. I'm still working on the motifs from episode 1. So which was your favorite, or do you feel like there was something that was really left out? Personally, as a resident of Utah, I would have liked to see something to represent one of our beautiful national parks, such as the Delicate Arch from Arches National Park, or Canyonlands would have been a great addition. So what do you think got left out? Go ahead and leave that down in the comments. If you have something you'd like to see me cover in a future video, or if you want to make fun of my stitching technique, put that in the comments as well. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I do want to thank you so much for watching. For Caterpillar Cross Stitch, I am Ford, and I will see you next time.
Hi, have you heard about Love It Stitch It yet? You can design and shop the cross stitch patterns you've always wanted. Love It Stitch It is an easy to use design tool and exclusive cross stitch marketplace, giving you the freedom to create, sell and shop all in one place. You can design anything that you like, add text, upload and convert pictures and artwork. You can design the cross stitch patterns of your dream. You can download them for personal use, or you can upload them onto the marketplace, designed by cross stitchers for cross stitchers, jam-packed with some gorgeous cross-stitch patterns from designers all over the world. If you're not interested in designing or selling, that's totally fine too. Just visit the marketplace and you can shop from hundreds of beautiful cross-stitch patterns so you can pick your next project. Are you already a cross-stitch designer, but maybe you're fed up of other marketplaces, maybe not getting the sales that you deserve, maybe not getting your patterns seen as much as you'd like? Then let us help. You can easily register for free and get uploading your PDF patterns with absolutely no fees whatsoever. Let us then market your gorgeous designs that you've put all of your work into to over 185,000 dedicated cross stitchers from all over the world. We will absolutely do our best to get your patterns seen and into the right hands of people that we know will absolutely love stitching them. As a designer, you can easily list your PDF patterns for sale, no matter which software you use to design them. Our job is to make cross-stitch design accessible to all. There's nothing to upgrade, there's nothing to download. It's really easy to use and beginner friendly. We also wanted to create the marketplace to bring sellers and buyers together so that it's really easy and such an enjoyable experience to shop all of the high quality verified designs on the platform, but also to give those amazing designers a place to really showcase their creativity. So visit loveitstitchit.com today and register for free. Stitch what you love and free your creativity.